This time on Superstars, 5 of Hollywood's youngest heroes and hotshots. Daniel Radcliffe is rumoured to have made £1 million for every year of his life. Upon turning 18, the Harry Potter star claimed that although he'd been quick to amass a fortune, he hadn't been quite as quick to develop extravagant tastes. Rather than throwing it all away on a sports car collection, he was much more likely to splash out on inexpensive items like books, CDs and DVDs. He also claimed that apart from being recognised more often on the street, little had changed in his life since he took on the task of bringing the bespectacled boy wizard to life on the big screen at the age of 12. Of course, he and his co-stars had all grown up somewhat since their first press conference back in 2001.
A long time ago, I read the first 2 books, and I have since then completely forgotten everything about it. So we've just started reading the first book, and I'm going to read after we finish the first, I'm going to read the 3rd and 4th.
Having secured author J.K. Rowling's permission to play the young hero, Daniel was reportedly paid $500,000 to appear in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. After the film grossed just under $1 billion worldwide, his fee for the second Harry Potter installment jumped to more than $10 million. The Chamber of Secrets went on to become another blockbuster. But despite all the hype that surrounded the release of the 3rd film, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Daniel certainly wasn't playing the big celebrity.
I don't really think of myself that way, to be honest with you. I mean, I just kind of... there's only 2 days of the year I think of myself as a celebrity, and it's like this premiere and the New York premiere, and that's it really, but it's great to be here.
In between making the movies, Daniel was studying hard at City of London School, from which he graduated in 2006 as a straight-A student. Next, he was keen to prove to the world that there was more in his bag of acting tricks than a magic wand and a cape, by signing up to play the horse-obsessed Alan Strang in a London production of Peter Shaffer's play Equus.
I don't want people to think that I'm sort of in any way ashamed of Harry Potter, because I love them and it's great and it's fun and they're really good movies. But it was just a fantastic opportunity, and the nature of the play is such that it's a much more adult role. So I suppose, yeah, there was an element of, wanting to really prove I could do something else.
One thing he proved he could do was take his clothes off in front of a live audience in the play's final scene, ensuring that people saw a very different side of an actor who'd become almost synonymous with Harry Potter. But Daniel insisted he wasn't out to shock.
The nudity, in one way, is much like if you did a film and with the character and he had an accent or a limp. It's just something that comes with the character.
One night during the play's previews, the John Gielgud Theatre was so overrun with crazed Daniel Radcliffe fans that his portly co-star Richard Griffiths was allegedly forced to leave through a side window. Perhaps it was to escape from the furore that erupted over the stage show that Daniel then flew to Australia to play a supporting role in an independent film called December Boys. But if he'd hoped to find anonymity down under, he was to be sorely disappointed, according to his co-star Teresa Palmer.
In fact, when we shot in South Australia, there was actually a Daniel Radcliffe hotline, and people would ring up to try and see where Daniel Radcliffe was, and there was money prizes if you got a photo of him, and it was crazy. Like, it was, manic. It was fun.
Suppose you're the one.
Luckily, his fellow cast members weren't quite as excitable at the prospect of meeting him.
They actually seemed totally unfazed by the whole thing, which was great. I think it would have been quite difficult to play that sort of, to use a slightly annoying word, camaraderie, if they were totally intimidated. And also because I don't think I'm a particularly intimidating person.
Like Daniel Radcliffe, Elijah Wood became a global superstar through playing the lead role in a blockbusting fantasy franchise. But unlike his younger counterpart, for whom he's frequently mistaken, Elijah had already been making a name for himself as an actor before landing the star-making role.
Contact lens commercial.
Born in 1981 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, he started modeling as a child and after his family moved to Los Angeles, he got his first acting break in a music video for Paula Abdul. At the age of 8, he was cast in Back to the Future Part 2 and scored his first lead role in Paradise in 1991, in between Melody Griffith and Don Johnson. At the age of 16, he was cast in Ang Lee's Ice Storm, about two dysfunctional suburban families trying to deal with the social and political upheaval of the 1970s. The film was a commercial disappointment, but Elijah won rave reviews for his portrayal of the tragically dazed and confused Mikey Carver. After that, he played the Artful Dodger in Oliver Twist and an outcast student in the horror science fiction film The Faculty, before landing top billing in Peter Jackson's epic adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. The 3 installments were shot back-to-back in New Zealand, and the first part, The Fellowship of the Ring, raked in nearly $900 million at the box office, making it the second highest-grossing film of 2001, behind Harry Potter and The Philosopher's Stone. But unlike the Harry Potter franchise, The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers went on to better the first film's box office performance. In 2003, ahead of the release of the final installment, Elijah was confident the Rings team could up the ante yet again.
We had such anticipation with particularly the first movie, because it was the first definition of the labor, you know, of all of our labors over the course of 16 months, and you know, I think with each film, our expectations have been exceeded, you know, and I think that each film has gotten better and better. The third film's always been my favorite, so I think I'm most excited about this particular film and most excited for fans to see this film.
Not only did Lord of the Rings: Return of the King become only the second film to top the $1 billion mark, it went on to win every Academy Award for which it was nominated, including Best Picture and Best Director. Since then, Elijah has been hard at work to put a little distance between himself and the wholesome hobbit with whom he will forever be associated.
Stand, Mom. We're lost. I don't care.
In 2004, he played a dodgy lab technician who uses his knowledge of a patient's erased memories to woo her in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. The following year, he starred in Everything is Illuminated. B.F. Schreiber's adaptation of a Jonathan Safran novel tells of a young man's quest to find the woman who saved his grandfather in a small Ukrainian town that was wiped off the map by the Nazi invasion. Dressing in perfectly fitted suits with slicked hair and oversized brown glasses, Jonathan has filled a giant wall with family memorabilia, ranging from charms to chunks of hair and dentures.
I just don't.
What starts out as a journey to piece together one family's story under the most absurd circumstances turns into a meaningful journey with a powerful series of revelations. The importance of remembrance, the perilous nature of secrets, the legacy of the Holocaust, the meaning of friendship, and most importantly, love. The next year, he was giving voice to the lead character in the family animation hit Happy Feet. Then, after playing a young 60s American who dodges conscription by marrying Lindsay Lohan in Bobby, he went on to play another character who faces the military draft in Day Zero. Set in the near future, against the backdrop of global terrorism, the film follows a group of New York City friends as they try to cope with being drafted into the US Army.
I'm right in the middle of my book. I'm not going to be done in time.
It's our turn, guys. Hey.
Then it was on to a murder mystery thriller, which centres around an Oxford University professor played by John Hurt and his American student played by Elijah.
I live here. What's your excuse?
Visit no friend.
On the eve of the film's 2008 release, he was asked whether he was happy to be working on smaller projects, since kissing goodbye to the big-budget production values of Lord of the Rings.
In a lot of ways, I would take a very simple, character-driven story over a massive, effects-driven film any day, just because you know what you have to work with, and what you have to work with is in front of you. There's nothing like a real set with real people and a real experience that you're all creating in that moment. It's more gratifying and it's easier.
Joel Osment made his debut in front of the camera when he was just 4 years old, after trying out for a Pizza Hut commercial in a shopping mall in LA. He went on to play Tom Hanks' son in Forrest Gump and played a string of sickly children in various TV shows, before landing the role of the kid who saw dead people in the M. Night Shyamalan chiller The Sixth Sense. It earned him a Saturn Award for Best Young Actor, as well as an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. He then went on to play a 12-year-old who takes up the challenge of making the world a better place in Pay It Forward, opposite Helen Hunt and Kevin Spacey. In 2003, at the age of 14, he had to face that awkward transition from childhood to puberty in public on the set of Secondhand Lions.
Go inside and watch television?
Ain't got one.
No television?
No, you know, it's actually worked in pretty conveniently into this role. With Secondhand Lions, I was about at that age where the voice got really unpredictable, and you know, we realized that it could be used, you know, with this character, because Walter's sort of unsure of himself at the beginning, so I ended up using it to sort of portray how you know, uneasy he is at the beginning of the film.
In the film, Haley plays an introverted teenager who spends the summer with a pair of cranky, eccentric great uncles, played by Michael Caine and Robert Duvall.
You sleep up there. We don't know nothing about kids.
If we kick off in the middle of the night, you're on your own.
He becomes enthralled with the two men as the exotic tales and remembrances of their own youthful exploits introduce him to a world of imagination and wonder.
A used lion?
Despite his tender age, Haley wasn't intimidated by the two veteran Oscar winners.
We found ways to communicate with each other easily, you know, from the start. And finding that relationship between the two of us, the three of us, was a really important part of the story. So it was something we had to achieve in real life before we could work on it in the movie.
No doubt conscious of the fact that many young actors have a hard time transforming from child to adult in terms of their career, he was grateful for the opportunity to play a role that celebrated his metamorphosis.
Yeah, that's why this film, you know, career-wise is really important, as well as being a great story, because it shows an aging, you know, in characters that I'm playing, and that's really important to me right now.
One of his co-stars was eager to point out that Haley was already a lot more mature than he'd been at the same age.
Well, I think young people are much more precocious now, and they're much more, they have much more information at their fingertips, and they're ready to go. When I was young, it was more black and white. There was more innocence prevailed, and no television and so forth. So they bloom a little younger than we did. Hopefully we'll bloom just as late.
In actual fact, Secondhand Lions turned out to be Haley's last big screen appearance for the next few years, although he didn't disappear completely. While finishing off school in California, he earned some pretty decent pocket money by lending his voice to a stack of animated features and video games. After playing Zephyr in The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 and Barry Barrington in The Country Bears, he embarked on the first installment of the successful Kingdom of Hearts game franchise. Just a few weeks before his 18th birthday, he was celebrating the release of the second game.
It's a huge challenge just doing voice work, and that's one of the reasons why I love to do it, is because it really hones your skills as an actor, just being able to express characterization and everything just by using your voice. I mean, having no other tools to help you.
Just a few months after that, he was a little more subdued. At around 1 a.m. on the 20th of July, he crashed his car into a mailbox and flipped it over. He ended up with a fractured rib and an injured shoulder, as well as a positive blood test. In October, he pleaded no contest to the charges of driving under the influence of alcohol and being in possession of marijuana, and was sentenced to 3 years probation and 60 hours in a rehabilitation program. The incident turned out to be a much more effective rite of passage than the making of Secondhand Lions, as since then Haley's on-screen career seems to have got back on track, with upcoming roles in Home of the Giants, Montana Amazon and Truth and Treason. The story goes that Hayden Christensen first attracted attention when his older sister couldn't find a babysitter. The aspiring actress took him along with her to look for an agent, but it was her baby brother who stole the limelight. He got his first acting role on Canadian television at the age of 13 and appeared in several TV shows and films, including Sofia Coppola's debut feature, The Virgin Suicides. To play Kevin Kline's drug-addicted son in 2001's Life as a House, he lost 25 pounds on a diet of water, salad and vitamins. The hard work earned him Golden Globe and SAG Award nominations, but it was his role as Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode II: Attack of the Clones that made him a star. Unfortunately, his performance as the young Darth Vader also won him a Razzie Award for Worst Supporting Actor, a dubious accolade that he and his co-star Natalie Portman followed up by topping a poll to find the movie couple with the least on-screen chemistry.
Excuse me, I'm in charge of security here, milady.
The romance between the fledgling Jedi Knight and Senator Padme Amidala didn't get any more convincing in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, according to pollsters who found the couple's clinches sadly lacking in intensity. Perhaps Hayden was saving all his pent-up passion for the film's fight scenes.
It's an emotionally charged fight. You know, I think is really what makes that fight pay off so much is that you care about that relationship. You see these two characters who care about each other like brothers, love each other like brothers, and you watch it sort of unravel before your eyes.
The lukewarm reviews from the critics didn't put a dent in Hayden's popularity and profile, and he was named one of Teen Magazine's 25 hottest stars under 25. He also went on to claw back some credibility with his portrayal of the controversial journalist Stephen Glass in 2003's Shattered Glass. One reviewer wrote, "Hayden Christensen is sensational as Glass, finding the Wonder Boy and the Weasel in a disturbed kid flying high on a fame he hasn't earned." In the 2006 thriller Awake, the former pin-up boy had to dig even deeper to play a young CEO who wakes up during a heart operation to discover his doctor and wife are plotting to kill him. Paralyzed and in agonizing pain, Clay is powerless to save himself.
I can still hear you.
Nah, Nick's all awake.
Okay, I'm still awake.
Scalpel?
Move something, do something, Clay. Move an arm, move a finger, move. Come on, open your eyes.
Living out everyone's worst nightmare on the screen was a challenge in more ways than one.
The body was actually a prosthetic body, so they could cut into it and, you know, do all that business. But they needed my head to come out, you know, and into the neck. And so I was in this very sort of awkward position for about a week, with like my eyes taped shut and this, you know, thing in my mouth. And that was trying.
No doubt the stricken Clay would have been very grateful for the lend of the special powers of Hayden's next big screen character. In the sci-fi thriller Jumper, he got to play a man who discovers his gift for transcontinental teleportation, which can take him from London to New York and on to Cairo in the blink of an eye. It's certainly one way to beat soaring petrol prices.
You were the only one. You really have no idea, do you? You lead the life you live, you think you just jump all over the place, jump, and nothing's gonna happen, but they've noticed. Them. Done that. Hello, boys. Just me, then. Huh. It's new.
I think it's an exciting thing, the ability to teleport. I think it's something that audiences will really enjoy, getting to watch someone jump from one location to another and travel with them, you know, through that jump to these new locations and really get to experience, you know, the life of a jumper.
The special effects-laden extravaganza gave Hayden the opportunity to share the screen with his Star Wars colleague Samuel L. Jackson, who was very generous in his appraisal of his young co-star.
Having the opportunity to work with her, watching the maturity, watching the growth as an actor has been kind of wonderful. We have a really great off-screen relationship, which translates very well on-screen. We have a lot of trust in each other, so we're able to kind of go to some extremes that most other actors might not go to and come out on the other side kind of laughing, so it's great.
Unfortunately, the critics didn't agree, with many branding the movie underwhelming. Jules Brenner suggested that by halfway through the movie, most viewers would be wishing they could teleport themselves, at least as far away as the cinema lobby. Despite being one of the hottest new kids on the Hollywood block, one young star who isn't setting himself up to be shot down by the critics is Shia Lebeouf.
I'm very lucky because I'm not the most talented dude on the block. I'm just the luckiest guy in the world, you know? And I'm excited about it all.
Plenty of people would disagree, including Steven Spielberg, who cast him in 2007's Disturbia and Transformers. Other acknowledgements of his precocious talent have come from the Show West convention of the National Association of Theatre Owners, who named him Star of Tomorrow, and the British general public, who voted him Top Rising Star at the 2007 BAFTAs. But then, by his own admission, the Californian does come from a long line of performers. His mother was a ballerina, and his Vietnam vet father was a part-time mime artist who grew his own cannabis and was a heroin addict. Whether to embrace his heritage or to escape his taxing home life, Shia began practicing stand-up comedy routines as a 10-year-old and has since described his act as disgustingly dirty. He may have been joking when he claimed to have gone into acting just because his family was broke, but clearly he turned out to be pretty good at it, winning a Daytime Emmy Award for his portrayal of a mentally challenged boy in the Disney Channel hit True Confessions. He went on to appear in more Disney vehicles, as well as Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, I, Robot and Constantine. He also co-wrote and directed a short drama called Let's Love Hate. In 2006, he took his clothes off in Bobby and played a young Robert Downey Jr. in A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. By the age of 21, he was more than ready for the big time. First cab off the rank was Disturbia, in which he played Cale, a teenager whose world is turned upside down when his father dies. After lashing out at his teacher, he finds himself under court-ordered house arrest. Left with a pair of binoculars and too much free time, Cale begins to watch his neighbors very closely.
What'd you see?
Red smears.
Blood?
There's a murder in the neighborhood, and he starts thinking that he's living next to that person. So that's the gist of the movie. There's a lot of different aspects to it. You know, there's a little bit of Say Anything and a little bit of Rear Window and a little bit of The Conversation, and it's a fully fledged, fully formed film.
Made on a budget of $20 million, the film opened at #1 on the US box office, staying there for 2 weeks. It went on to be a huge financial success, hauling in well over $100 million and garnering great reviews.
It's an honor. I feel really honored that people are enjoying the movie. We worked hard on it, and I've never experienced anything like it, so it's something new and very enjoyable.
Right, and my car's right there, and it's been following me here. So get out of the car. No, stop. Oh, God. Okay, all right. Okay, oh, sorry. I didn't mean it.
Despite nailing his first outing as a leading man, he still had plenty of nerves as he approached the even bigger challenge of sharing the screen with toys from his childhood in the Michael Bay blockbuster Transformers.
Transformers was just the most tangible superhero I could imagine. You know, to me, I grew up in a place where a dude with a cape and red patent leather shoes really wasn't going to do where I lived. You know what I mean? So, and the guy in the Spider-Man costume was the hobo down the street. You know what I mean? Who got the costume from like a 99-cent store and was making it work. So for me, those weren't the superheroes. Superheroes to me was technology.
With Transformers barely in the can, he was off to play Harrison Ford's young sidekick in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Not that he was letting it all go to his head.
Come on, genius. My life really hasn't changed that much. I got some new tires for my Nissan and got it cleaned yesterday, so that's a big change. My mom's bringing me soup tonight. That'll be a big change. My life's real normal. Well, what's he gonna do now?
I don't think he plans that far ahead.
I'd cover my ears if I were you.